Well, folks, welcome to today's Van University webinar, where we're going to be exploring communication hacks, tools, and tools and tips for efficient follow-up. So again, welcome. You're here at today's Van University webinar. Today is Thursday, February 22nd. I'm Ryan Girardi hosting for us. Alongside, we have Van President and Founder Tom Gregg. And with us today is also Tanner Johnson from Stephen Kias. So Greg, great to see you here again. How are you?
Doing great. Thanks, Ryan. I want to congratulate Tanner on his promotion.
Appreciate it, Tom.
Tanner, you are moving up from, you were on the just the acquisition side, you said, and now you're you're the used car manager?
Yep. Started as the van acquisition guy and did that for a couple months, started buying online, kind of transitioned to the acquisition manager, into the inventory manager, and now I'm the used car manager. So it's been a pretty quick step up, and Van has played a big role in all that. Being able to acquire cars obviously makes selling them a lot easier.
Well, cool. Well, congratulations. Tom, I'm going to go ahead and hand things over to you and let you really kick things off and reintroduce Tanner.
So today, as Ryan discussed, mentioned that we're talking about communication hacks. And we have Tanner on the line, who is going to discuss one of the tools that we have seen that has worked well, and he's an expert. He's been using that particular product the longest of anybody that I know. That element is called Streak for Gmail. So Van is focused on technology and training. And this ties pretty heavily into what we do and what we believe in, and that's efficiencies for consumer acquisition. So today's discussion is on templates and tools for efficient follow-up. We see on the initial inbound text message from the over 33,000 inbound texts that we receive in a month, that about 75 to 80% of those inbound texts could be actually managed by one of three templates. And this is based on what we primarily see as the majority of the outbound text that a lot of our dealers send. And that's a text that suggests that they want to make an offer on the vehicle that the seller is selling online. And since the outbound message is basically a marketing offer that's going to elicit a guided response, the discussion today is going to be predicated based on primarily we want to make an offer. If you do send something different in a text, such as, is the vehicle still available? You would see a very different inbound response than the ones we'll be discussing today. But the information that will be talked about is still very applicable. The outbound text needs to be the four items we have documented here. So it's positive, conducive to acquisition, general, and short. So the templates and the responses that we're talking about are on the initial inbound response. So Van will generate the outbound that will go to the seller. The seller will respond, and the inbound communication is the one that we're discussing in detail today about creating templates to respond back to those inbound communications efficiently. The number one offer, or the number one response that we see when we ask or let a seller know that we want to make an offer, oftentimes the seller will call us on that and say, great, what is the offer? How much? Make an offer, give me a quote. And for the dealers that operate with the process of everybody's invited to come in, just make an appointment, the response that we see is one that we would approve, would again consist of those things that we mentioned earlier about being a text, so it's short, about being positive, and then also conducive to the acquisition. So the response that you could use, as we have here, is our offer is based on an in-store evaluation. Are you available today or perhaps tomorrow? And there's a number of things that are in here that are BBC best practices, and we're focused on the appointment, and that we are providing the seller two choices to make the selection easy, and we're also addressing the concern and asking them to come in. Other processes that we see, if it's a dealer does not operate with the process of everybody's welcome to come in, the other two processes that we see relate to a range. So where you provide the seller with an upfront range before you invite them to come in, or you provide them an exact offer. And Tanner, which of those three are you guys? Are you guys offer, range, or appointment?
Definitely always go for the offer range first, just to make sure that we're at least in the ballpark of what they're looking for. We always support that with evidence. just to make sure we're on the same page. It is kind of tough getting someone in and they think they're going to get 20,000 for a vehicle when we're really the top number we have is 12,000. And that seems to have filtered a lot of those kind of customers out. And it makes the whole process easier once we do have them in because we know it's more of a hot prospect.
That's great. Yeah. And so it certainly helps you manage the seller's expectations. And as you mentioned about reducing those opportunities or those circumstances that you have sellers come in that maybe get a little heated about what that vehicle is actually worth. So for dealers like yourself that provide a range or an offer, a very good response back on the initial inbound would be excellent. Do you have a few minutes to discuss our offer? Or another one that we like is we'd be happy to discuss that. Do you have a few minutes now or later? Mm-hmm. Both these work, they're short, they're conducive to the appointment or the acquisition, and they're positive. And Tanner, what do you guys say on your initial response if somebody asks you about your offer?
So right now ours is a little bit on the long side, but it starts out saying who I am. Hi, this is Tanner from Stephen Kia. I buy vehicles from the local market and would love to make you an offer on your vehicle. You'll get paid on the spot, have a friendly, safe, hassle-free transaction. Anything else I should know about your vehicle, ? And then I have a little link to our website that says stephenkia.com/sellusyourcar.
Great. And when they respond, if they say, make me an offer now, or what's your price, what do you respond back with?
So usually I say, I'd love to give you an offer. Just need to get a couple more quick questions addressed. Overall condition of the vehicle, any damage inside or outside, tires looking good, those kind of things. Obviously help the customer also realize that this is going to be a real offer. Anyone who can just throw a range out without getting any information on the car, it doesn't seem credible.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, so would you agree that you see the question about offer, the majority of the inbound initial responses?
Definitely. That's what I see most times.
Yeah, we see it's a pretty heavy percentage on our end. So another second bucket that we see often is sellers that respond back with want to sell to a private buyer or someone who's coming later. And so it kind of pushes the dealer off that they don't want to dismiss it, but they want to address it later. So a positive response that we like and we see is great. I understand it is okay if I reach out to you in about a week. So you're setting the seller up that you're going to be following up, and you're not dismissing the fact that they may not want to deal with you yet. The third template that we like encompasses the other large percentage of the responses that you can manage through a template. And that is one that you're simply trying to get the seller on the phone, much like Tanner had already suggested with the response that they use, is, again, you want to get the seller on the phone. It is the easiest, most effective way to get an appointment with an individual, whether they're buying a car or selling a car. And what we see is that when you get sellers on the phone, it expedites the process of what would have been a series of text messages, or in our case, emails, back to the individual over a period of time. It also allows you to tell the story, and you can also have some positive emotions on the phone that may get diluted through text. So a response that we like a lot is, can I call you now? So the seller responded back with, what's your offer, how much? So you could even use this one for those as well. Can I call you now? And almost regardless of what the seller says, this response is good for the majority of the inbound communications off the initial one that we see. Here's some examples of a daily report that I grabbed today. So the first one says, can you make an offer over the phone? Again, would the offer template that we just discussed, would that be applicable? And would it be natural for the consumer to receive the template that we've already created? The next one, so if you're not offering $4,500, we don't need to talk. Third one, we can just talk through text. So that may be one that you need to respond back with a more personal text than the one of the templates that we discussed. The fourth one, what's your offer? Fifth one, asking to be called. The next one after that is make me an offer, and so on. So the last one is how much. On the right side is tell me the amount of your cash offer. The one after that is can you come see it? So you see that a lot of the inbound text messages that we see can easily be managed by one of three different texts. And if you can reduce 75% of the inbound initial text messages to be able to be moved over to a template. It allows you to focus more of your time and effort on those opportunities that may need more focus. The next category outside of the initial inbound text message would be the ongoing follow-up template. So we see this is a very important one that you need to have saved and you need to have accessible, that you can quickly and easily follow up with consumers on their vehicle throughout a period of time. As we have already discussed, the follow-up is the number one thing after attitude that is conducive to success in the acquisition department. So, and the template that we like is, hi, have you had any luck selling your vehicle? Or another one is, hello, just checking to see if your vehicle is still available. So these are general, they're short, they're positive, and they're conducive to acquiring the vehicle. So you may be asking, so what is the process that I should go through when I want to create my own categories or my own templates based on the outbound text message that I have? And our suggestion for that is to read through your daily reports. We just showed an example of some inbound text messages off one of the reports, and you can go through and make a list of the different categories that inbound text may fall under. And here are a few examples of some of the categories that we see. So we've already discussed offer, how much, give me a price, give me an offer. We also see, what are your hours? What's your address? You're too far, I don't want to drive that far. So we see people respond about the distance. Another one is they want to play the power card. You come see it, you come to me. Another one is, we want to sell it privately. We don't want to trade, where they think you're just trying to use this as an opportunity to sell a car instead of just buy it. And lastly, we also see that we may want to trade, where a consumer says, I see you're a Nissan dealer, and I'm looking for a new Pathfinder, I'm looking for a Murano, where there's an opportunity to actually have a chance to sell a vehicle. So crafting your templates. So we've already discussed several of these elements already, but they must be short. This is a text. It is not an email. Even though you may be replying back to an email, it does go out to the seller as a text. So keep it short. If it's lengthy, long, it's less likely the seller will even read it. If they do read it, they may think it's not legit or not genuine. So keep it short, keep it positive, and then keep it general. So the purpose of these templates are to be able to be used in multiple facets. So if you have something too specific, you may not be able to use it on a large amount of your text messages, or you may have to have multiple number of templates, and we find that it's a lot easier if you keep it simple. So moving on to tools for efficient follow-up. The follow-up, as I have mentioned again, is the most important attribute after attitude in having success in acquiring vehicles from consumers. And the reason that is because sellers often misjudge the effort and time needed to sell a vehicle. They get the scam or suspicious type of text messages, calls, or emails, and they get fatigued. This says enough is enough. I didn't realize it would take this long to sell my vehicle. So, and when that comes in, if you are the dealer or the individual that is stuck with that seller through the journey of their sales cycle, you're gonna win. Now, CRM. So we have a number of dealers that use a CRM to manage the opportunities. And while we feel that the CRM is a great place, once you have already secured an appointment and then the individual shows up and hopefully acquire or sell their vehicle, prior to that, you're actually engaging through email. So whether that email is a company email or a Gmail or a Ymail or Yahoo, those email addresses are not consumer facing. Since they receive that email that you sent as a text message, they don't know what the email address is. For that reason, we like Gmail. We like it a lot. Gmail is reliable, it's flexible, it's free. It also has a number of add-ons that you can use to customize to make it more applicable to your needs. Today we're discussing two. So Inbox by Gmail is what I use personally. And then, as I mentioned, Streak will be what Tanner is discussing in just a minute. What I like a lot about Inbox is that it is simple and it's easy. You can create templates and you can snooze your emails for later reminders. And it's free. So I'm actually going to pivot over to my Inbox. The function of Inbox is very similar to Gmail and just has a couple additional items that when you do compose an email. But the one that is here that is applicable to the conversation of templates is this black, what looks like a page, and it's templates. So for me to deploy a template is just simply send it an email. So Ryan, I'll send you one here. Do you have time to talk now? Question mark. I'll delete my signature. And I can basically take this and create this as an offer. So the function here is make this draft a template. I'm going to call it offer 2. I'll copy it over and create. So what I just created was offer 2, and it's this template. So send it out. It's easy. As the emails are coming in, which again are text from sellers, as they're coming in, you can quickly and easily respond through the use of your pre-saved templates. And you don't really have to think about the context of what you're going to send. It will be very consistent to what you said in the past. And also, if you have multiple users, it's consistent among the team that everybody's responding back with the same feel for the organization as well.
Tom, while you were demonstrating that, a question came in asking how that is returned as a text through the Van tool.
Sure. Yeah. So the way our system works is we have email notification. So a text comes back into us from a seller. We can send you an email notification to your inbox. You have the ability to then reply back to that email, and we convert that email to a text. So we look at just the new content that we receive compared to what we sent you, and we will reply or send that new text back to the individual that corresponds to our encoded email address.
I see. So an email comes in, it's coming from the Vehicle Acquisition Network system. Right. You hit reply and then pick one of your templates and you're sending it back to the system, and it's going to convert it into an SMS.
That's right. Yeah. So it's an email to text function. If you're familiar with Google Hangout, not Google Hangouts, Google Voice, it's the same functionality where you can reply back to an email and it gets converted to a text. So the other function, as I mentioned, is snooze. When I send an email, I will often want to schedule myself a reminder to follow up on that to see if I got a response. So I use this periodically. I send a lot of emails, and I don't recall all the emails to whether or not I have received response reference to my question. So if I were to respond back to this email, I may simply schedule a function here to be reminded. I'll say I want to be reminded on Mondays next week. It's snoozed and it's out of my inbox. It's no longer in front of me. What inbox permits is the ability to have essentially a zero inbox that only shows you the most critical and important task that's needed to be followed up or addressed at that time. So again, the function that inbox permits that I like a lot and how it relates to the email to text function for our dealers is the ability to create the templates and also the ability to snooze the emails so that you can address them at a later time. And moving on to Streak. Streak is, as I mentioned, a CRM for Gmail. And to set up Streak, you can simply search Streak for Gmail. I'm going to roll back to the slideshow. So Streak, I'll just recap this and then turn over to Tanner. But Streak is a great function, a great product. It is very flexible and customizable. As Tanner will discuss and show you, it allows you to set up different stages and custom fields. You can add notes, which you can't do in Inbox. And you can also have multiple users, where Inbox is designed for one email. The product is free for light use. You can only send up to 200 emails in a month on the free level. And then beyond that, the next level up is $50 per user. All right, Tanner?
So mine is set up a little more dynamic, if you will. So it starts out with the fresh lead. Those are the leads that are coming in today. I know exactly which ones. It has a date of last email and all that stuff. I get my notes in. Usually when they're in that fresh lead, what I'm trying to get from them initially is the VIN number. With the VIN, I can really get a lot of information about the vehicle. If there's any issues with the Carfax, that's brought about pretty quick in the process, so I'm not waiting till halfway through this process or even getting them to the lot to figure out, okay, this thing has a salvage title, it's not worth what this guy wants. So we're kind of getting those issues addressed early in the process. So from fresh lead, it goes into a separate folder, which is called fresh wholesale. This is a folder I use to keep track of all the vehicles that are higher mileage, maybe have some issues, some damage, where I can kind of keep track of those wholesale vehicles separate from the retail ones. And then it goes into working, like you have as your first one, which is where I start gathering a little more information, whether it be through text or calling, just depending on overall, that customer in particular. Get as much info as I can, and then it gets to the point where I switch them into the needs offer category. That's where I pretty much figure out, how flexible they are, where they can let it go for comfortably, and try to get as close as I can with my sight unseen offer to that number and see if we can work something out. After that, it goes to the send offer. Usually we try to call our offers in rather than text them. Like you mentioned previously, getting them on the phone, you have a lot more power to kind of understand how they feel, what they're going through. So after that, definitely putting them in the appointment section if we can get an offer close. If not, like your streak shows, we'd be following up with them. We have 7-day follow-up, 14-day follow-up, and 21-day follow-up, depending on how confident that customer is that they're going to sell it on their own. From there, the appointment is set, and then we have another follow-up category if we get them in and we still don't buy it from them, so we know that they're a hot prospect, but we've given them our best offer and they still think they can get more. Oftentimes they can't, so we love to follow up with those customers and get them right back in. We've already done the whole appraisal, and the next thing you know, we've got that vehicle purchased. We've also got longer term follow-up, and then there's another category for dead in my streak where we just cannot come to terms. It's not a vehicle we want. It's anything like that. We go ahead and throw it in there and don't worry about it anymore after that.
Now, once you get in there, so those are the stages.
Yep,
can you
those are the stages.
Some of the custom categories that you have? Like I have the year, make, model, and appointment and such. What do you guys have?
It goes name, and it shows the vehicle. It has the stage that it's in, like yours. The last time we talked to them, notes on it. We've actually got spots for their VIN number, so if we need to search back through, it can be easily found that way. We've got their phone number in here, what we offered them. All of that are different little notes that we have within the stages where we can kind of keep track of it even easier. And it breaks it down and just keeps everything nice, clean, and concise. I like the different colors helps. It's all good for Streak when it comes to integrating with Van.
Now, also to be said about Streak is that it also permits the ability to set up a lot of rules. So you can use it as simple as you like, or you can also make it as complex as you can think.
Another thing I do want to mention that I think is probably the most important for us using Streak is similar to that snooze idea when it comes to emails. It's you can have it on a draft that's going to automatically send at a certain time. So if I know what I'm going to offer a customer, or if I know I need to follow up with a customer, I can draft that whole text out and then have it send in 3 days if I know that's what the situation kind of calls for. If I know I need to get back to someone, I can set up a reminder where it pops right in and says, hey, get back with Ryan. He's trying to sell his Tundra. We were close last time we talked, but he wanted a little time. And obviously you can set that up for as long as you think it needs to be reminded and when that is.
That's great. Yeah, so a lot of functionality that is available here through Streak. And so these are two products that we like a lot. I know Jake and Tanner have used Streak for a couple of years now, and it's a product that works. Tanner, anything you'd like to add about Streak at all?
It's not perfect with Van yet. It's not completely integrated, but it is the next best thing at this time. So we love to use it.
Well, I appreciate you jumping on the call and helping us to discuss how you use it and what you like about it. But as I had said, Inbox is a nice solution if you want something very simple and easy, not overweight, just has a few functions that are very helpful and conducive to reaching out to sellers more efficiently.
So we've gone through everything, but there you have it, folks. Okay, great. So thanks again, folks. Van University webinar for February, communication hacks, templates, and tools for efficient follow-up. And remember, when you get a chance, maybe get up to the Van YouTube channel and be sure you're subscribed and have notifications turned on. That said, Tanner, have a great day. Tom, always
great
good seeing you. And folks, we're going to go ahead and shut this down, and we'll see you next month.